Hello and welcome to Hooray for Hollywood. My name is Wayne York and we are at the intersection of Sunset Boulevard and Crescent Heights Boulevard. And as you can see, this is a big empty dirt lot right at the moment. But it has a terrific history and once was the home of silent movie star Alla Nazimova and the Garden of Alla. Let's check it out. It's hard to believe that at one time this was an approximately 3-acre estate with a private residence on it, built by Canadian-born real estate developer William Hamilton Hay in 1913. It was called Havenhurst. The estate's original address was 8080 Sunset Boulevard, but was later changed to 8152 Sunset Boulevard. In 1918, Broadway star and silent movie star Alla Nazimova leased the estate and a year later purchased it. At that time, Alla Nazimova was the highest paid actress in Hollywood, making $13,000 a week with Metro Pictures. And not only was she an actor, but she also served at different times as director, producer, editor, writer, lighting designer, among many other titles. Unfortunately, her wonderful success did not continue in Hollywood, and in 1926, facing bankruptcy, she decided to have 25 villas built on her 3-acre estate in order to generate additional income and called it the Garden of Alla. She threw a big opening party on January 9, 1927. Over the years, the Garden of Alla became known as the unofficial epicenter of Hollywood's social activity and had many well-known celebrities either live there or party there. Humphrey Bogart, Laurence Olivier, John Barrymore, Charlie Chaplin, Vivian Leigh, Gloria Swanson, the Marx Brothers, Errol Flynn, Frank Sinatra, Ava Gardner, Clark Gable, David Niven, Greta Garbo, Lillian Gish, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Clara Bow, Marlene Dietrich, Ernest Hemingway, and many others either lived there or partied there so often it felt as if they did. In 1930, Alla sold the property to Central Holding Corporation and decided to return to Broadway. It was the new owners of the Garden of Alla who added the H to the Garden of Alla, apparently to normalize the name. Nazimova had wonderful success back on Broadway, and while in a production of Ibsen's Ghosts, critic Pauline Kael described Alla Nazimova's performance as the greatest performance she had ever seen on the American stage. Wow. In the early 1940s, Alla Nazimova decided to return to Hollywood and actually rented out one of the villas to live in on the property that she used to own. She appeared as Robert Taylor's mother in the 1940 movie Escape and as Tyrone Power's mother in 1941's Blood and Sand. She lived in Villa number 24 with neighbors such as Frank Sinatra, F. Scott Fitzgerald, and Orson Welles until her death in 1945 at the age of 66. Here's some very interesting details about Alla Nazimova. She was the godmother to Nancy Davis, who would later become Nancy Reagan. She was an unapologetic lesbian who coined the term sewing circle, a code to refer to lesbians or bisexual actresses of her day who concealed their true sexuality. The sewing circle would go on to include legends such as Marlene Dietrich, Tallulah Bankhead, Katharine Hepburn, and countless others. By 1959, the Garden of Alla had been neglected and fallen into disrepair. Litton Savings and Loan purchased the property with plans to tear everything down and build the bank's main branch on the property, along with what would later become a small strip mall. But before it was torn down, the current owners threw a farewell costume party on August 22, 1959, which was attended by over 1,000 people. People came dressed as silent movie stars, with some of them dressing as Rudolph Valentino and Alla Nazimova. Silent movie star Francis X. Bushman, who was at the opening party on January 7, 1927, was also there for the closing party. They showed one of Nazimova's silent movie hits, Salome, on the large screen. Reportedly, by the next morning, the pool was filled with empty liquor bottles. 3 days after the closing party, there was an on-site public auction for all of the furniture, the fixtures, the equipment, and so on. Here's a little footage from that day. Then it became, as I knew it, a bank. And a while later, a strip mall was added with a McDonald's, a martial arts center, dental offices, and a variety of other stores. And in the lobby of the bank was this beautiful model of what the Garden of Allah used to look like. And I remember standing and looking at that model many, many times. I loved it. In 2021, that bank, building, and strip mall was totally demolished, and the current plans are still up in the air from what I understand. But here's an image of what has been proposed by designer Frank Gehry. As of 2023, the redevelopment of the site has failed to push through, so it remains an empty lot. Let's see what happens. Thank you so much for joining me on Hooray for Hollywood. My name is Wayne York, and it's a wrap on Alla Nazimova and the Garden of Allah. We'll see you in the next one.